These guys are going to play each other once. The people with the two people with the highest scores go on to the championship. $40 going to first, $20 going to second. With that, let's get into it. We got Ed and Cold already in here. They're ready to go. All right, guys, here we are. Here we are. Another round of Blitz action coming at you here, continuing on the Blitz World Series event for the month of June. We are in the Division 1/Semi-Pro. We did join the two divisions together, so if you guys are confused about the names that are in here, yeah, we just basically got Division 1 Semi-Pro. We're both kind of small. I think both these guys, all these guys in here are in a similar level, so we joined them together. Should be able to get some good action for you guys today. Starting things off, again, guys, it is best of one. All these guys are going to be playing each other one game. Top two people go on to the championship. So we got Cold in red, fighting out of Bolivia on the right. We got Ed in yellow, fighting out of the US of A on the left. Ed's tried and true, man. Ed's super old school kind of player. He's been around for, I don't know, people make jokes like he's been here from day one. I think he's been playing pretty on and off for about 15 years at least. But Cold's a good player. Cold's been playing a lot of Blitz. For those of you guys who follow the Blitz World Series events, we've seen him the last couple months. He's been putting up points against some great players and definitely winning some money. So Cold versus Ed here. Get things going. Both players obviously familiar with the map as they bring out those two early war factories. To get their, obviously you taking advantage of those free oils in the corners. Really can pump things early here. Both players massing tanks and dogs. Looks like we're going to see some good old-fashioned rhino wars here. See whose micro can come out on top, who has better unit control, or possibly who makes that critical shift over to tech, takes advantage of the water, gets the Iron Curtain advantage. We'll see what happens. So Cold is building up onto that plateau. Now, working through the lower divisions, we did not see much of this so far in the tournament, but Ed's going to take advantage of Cold's displaced army here to try to get in and try to make something happen here. Doesn't really have, he's severely behind on tanks, so this is a good distraction. He definitely cannot be pushing into that sentry gun, though. Throws a couple conscripts out there. They're going to get gobbled up. So Ed's quite a bit behind here. 3, 6, 7, 8, 3, 6. Oh, no, the tanks are about even here. Cold with a slight fodder advantage. But Ed's economy is way up here, so Ed's economy is looking so nice here. Now he does need to be careful though, especially with Cold controlling that higher ground. Ed's kind of pushing into this, and this is a very tricky position for Ed. With Cold controlling the higher ground here, he definitely has the advantage. Ed now with a few smoking tanks, a nice control here. I love that forward barracks from Ed, using that to get those conscripts right in the fight. Very nice move, soaking up some damage from those sentry guns so his tanks can work behind him. And Cold, I think Cold. I'm not sure what Cold's thinking here. I do think with these sentry guns, Cold does need to be jumping in and out using his tanks. Cold looks like he's almost just willing to throw off this whole section of his base, but so now he finally does jump in, and that actually might have been a good play from Cold, using those sentry guns to take as much damage as possible, but now Ed pulling back to his sentry guns, and a very interesting in and out maneuver here from both players. But now you see Cold with that higher ground, and if Cold is able to hold this position, he's going to be able to start shooting down on Ed's expansion, but Ed tries to base walk up into this expansion. Very aggressive moves here from Ed, recklessly pushing into the higher ground position. This is not a winning position for Ed, but he's somehow making it interesting. But as I say that, you start seeing his tank numbers falling behind here pretty significantly. Now Ed looking downfield to try to make something happen. I like this from Ed. Ed's playing like he's ahead. He's not, but it is kind of confusing Cold, and it's making Cold play more timid than he should. Cold is in the driver's seat right now and should be able to get more value out of this offensive position, and he's not because he thinks he's behind. You see Cold here, Cold literally is playing defense. He literally thinks that Ed is like outgunning him, and that's just not the case. And you know, we've talked about that before, the power of appearing strong when you are weak. That's really well played here from Ed. Now Ed is hunkering into this position nicely here, using these bunkers, and I love this movement from Ed, using these units to jump around, keep Cold guessing, keep him confused, little in and out missions, harassing that bottom part, and making Cold struggling a little bit to try to bounce to the top level and the bottom level is tricky here. These bases are so tight. Cold's units are having a difficult time kind of maneuvering around. Now we see Cold securing his position even further as he brings out a 5th sentry gun on that plateau, which I find to be absolutely hilarious. Now backed by Tesla troopers and conscripts, both players giving everything they have to this particular position here. But now we do see the radar out for Ed, so a Desolator is going to come out pretty hard nerf that barracks on the top side. As I say that, we are getting a split on the bottom side. Split on the bottom side now. Ed switches over to that primary war factory. That's a good move for you guys in the lower divisions. Try to pick up little tips and tricks here from these top level guys. Switching a primary war factory or primary barracks to reinforce a particular position. Really, really nice move. Instead of building from one war factory and moving your units around, think about which primary building you should have. And then it also gives value to having war factories and having barracks on different parts of the map. So Desolators and Desolators to match on the top side. Both players lose their infantry here. But those infantry were pretty relevant for a while in the 5-minute war. Top side, demo truck. Demo truck gets in, takes out a bunker. Nice hit. Demo trucks are pretty expensive, though, but Cold has the money to do it, so I think that's actually pretty good value. The biggest, the opportunity cost with the demo truck is also there. When you're building demo trucks, you have to cancel out your rhinos, so that's something to consider as well. So we do see the tech rush now as we move into the mid to late game here. So the siege chopper's out for Ed, which I find hilarious. But look at that Kirov from Cold coming from that top war factory. Beautiful placement. That Kirov's going to be right in the field quickly here. And no flak tracks yet from Ed. So Ed needs to scramble some anti-air quickly here. I'd like to see some Scorpions from Ed. Could be good. Some anti-air boats, if you guys are unfamiliar with that term. That's the anti-air boats for the Soviet player. Ed matches with his own Kirov. His flak track's a little late to the party, though. Yeah, this Kirov's going to get some damage done for sure. But Dreadnought out from Ed now. That's Ed's primary focus. Look at Ed picking targets. Pro moves here as he gets in and takes out that oil. But Cold is able to jump in the Gator Pit and sink that Dreadnought without losing anything else. And Cold does let that Kirov go AFK on the left side. Kirov not getting as much damage as he wanted. Ed's Kirov doing work now on the top side. Ed in with some siege choppers as well, playing off the back of that Kirov. So while Cold's flak tracks are distracted with the Kirov, those siege choppers are doing a little bit of work. It's a lot of flak tracks, though. A lot of flak tracks from Cold. Ed now going to push it on the bottom side. Going to take this nuclear reactor, put him low power. That's actually a really nice move. If you guys were watching the timers there on the bottom right, Cold did have a slight Iron Curtain advantage, which is huge. Soviet versus Soviet, tight match like this. First Iron Curtain is really, really big. So Ed getting in there and taking out Cold's power, beautiful move there. Puts him low power and does give Ed now the Iron Curtain advantage, first Iron Curtain advantage. Ed with another Dreadnought out, doing some work, but can't get through the flak tracks. Ed had that elite siege chopper from Ed does go down. Like Ed, Ed's a wild player. He's always entertaining. Uses everything at his disposal. I mean, siege choppers, for God's sake. A lot of players even forget those are a unit. So another Dreadnought does go down. Not able to get too much done, but is distracting Cold nicely here. And what a match here, guys. Very, very close game, but this one could easily be coming down to time. Iron Curtain now from Ed on going to push right through the middle, targeting a lot of rhinos here. Going to get in and hit the force shield, beautiful force shield. And a lot of times that's why you'll see the pro players build in that triangle, the Iron Curtain, the Battle Lab, and the MCV, just so that they can force shield all three buildings. So 2 minutes remaining here now. Ed with a bunch of drones. I think this game's going to pretty much be knotted up. Going to come down to points. It'd be difficult for either player to. I think Cold has a pretty decent tank advantage here actually, but I don't know if it's gonna be enough to close this out. So now Iron Curtain from Cold a bit early here. Now we'll see Ed. See if Ed uses his force shield. And so Ed force shields the nuclear reactor. Ed now pulling back his army to defend. Both players with a lot of drones out. A lot of drones from both players now. So Ed counter-punching, does get the Iron Curtain, does get the MCV, does get the Battle Lab. Beautiful counter-punch here from Ed. And it's difficult, in some of these positions, late game with the timer, it's tempting to be like, oh, if Ed had more time, now Ed could win. But one thing to keep in mind is that, when you're playing with the timer is that these players are playing off of the timer. So Cold is making more reckless moves because he knows the game's going to end anyway. But Ed, Cold now counter-punching, takes the MCV. Yeah, we got another minute left in this game, but both players losing so much here. Oh, does the barracks goes down, and are either of those tanks droned? I can't tell. Oh my god, 2 elite rhinos on the run, 1 elite rhino now. Cold's got another wave coming. Can Cold close out this game? No way, right? He's got the timer's going a bit slow on this game just because it goes by game speed a little bit as well. So and Ed quits out. What a gentleman, bowing out with 30 seconds left in the game. Ed, Ed's a class act, man. He's a gentleman. He knows that he was in a losing position there. He knows Cole deserved that win and gave it to him. Yeah, very, very interesting. Very close first point. A lot of back and forth. I mean, that's pretty much the action we're looking for here. So hats off to both players for putting on a little show for us. That was a good one to start off the day. All right, so coming at you guys, more Blitz World Series action here in the Division 1 / semi-pro. Did join the kind of top 2 divisions right under pro this month. So we got a lot of big names in here, a lot of big players. A lot of players in this division who are very top level traditional players. Ed, obviously, he's been a traditional Red Alert 2 top level pro player for 15 years, but he doesn't really play as much Blitz. So we do have the pro division here, and this is the division right under it. Like I said, combining D1 and semi-pro, so a lot of good names in here. Valentino, also a great traditional player. Anyone know for sure what's his usual QM rank? He's a good traditional player though, definitely a player people know. But he is new to Blitz, has not played a lot of Blitz. So coming at you here, Ed on 1 loss. Ed did just lose to Cold in a very close battle. Now we are moving on to Valentino versus Ed. It is best of 1 round robin. Everyone playing each other 1 point. Top 2 people going on to the championship. So Valentino, both players out pretty aggressive here to start things off. Looking nice, looking nice. Yeah, both players obviously familiar with the map now. Kicking off with 2 war factories. Again, guys, taking advantage. This map plays very quick early on thanks to those 2 oils. Val now working down the gator pit in the middle of the map, looking for an opening. Now Ed trying to kill some crocodiles. It's always fun mid-game. You got a little extra time, kill some crocodiles. Why not? 30 to 40 in a quick match. Yeah. FW, yeah. Wait, FW? Actually, I don't know what FW stands for. I thought you were going to say Fortune's FC, which is Fortune Chaos, which is a big clan. I don't know what FW is. Okay, so Ed gets down. He's going to harass that bottom oil. Does take out that bottom right oil. Takes out that bottom right oil. Nice. Yeah, early game, if you can get in and take out those oils, guys. Any of you guys who are newer watching this map, the corner oils are pretty difficult to defend as you can't build a sentry gun off of them. Yeah, both players coming right at you now. The forward barracks from Ed going to be a little bit more defensive here. Put that bunker up. Nice use of the bunker. Ed does a good job with bunkers. You know, bunkers obviously take a little bit more work. You got to get conscripts, you got to get a bunker, you got to get them together. A lot of players opting for sentry guns just because of the convenience, but bunkers get it done, man. Bunkers definitely pack some more firepower if you have the time to get them set up. So now Val making Ed work here, bouncing now to the top side, making him commit to defending the top side as well.
My truck is loaded.
Demo truck now from Val. Love that. Early game demo truck. He's got to try to get some value out of this. Demo trucks are very expensive, so if you can get it cut off, gets in there, takes out a bunker. Okay, not great. Yeah, kind of a wash. Okay. So both dancing around now. Rhino Wars, both players pretty even on tanks. Another player able to get much of a leg up here. We'll see if these players... I would expect to see Ed switching over to tech here pretty soon, try to switch things up. I'm not as familiar with Valentino's style. Possible that he does just kind of commit to the war factories and just keep pumping the rhinos. We'll see now. Val working in some desos on the top side, going to try to start getting some chip damage on these rhinos. Okay, drones out now from Ed to counter these desos. So both players now able to take out 1 oil from their opponent. Ed shoots right down the gap now, and see Ed splits off just enough tanks. Wow. That was a pro move from Ed. So you guys saw there, if Ed would have committed his entire army, he would have got most of them out of position. And had he dove on that MCV, he would have had a very difficult time. He would have had a very difficult time. He would have got most of his army out of position. He would have lost a lot of his army. So he split off just enough tanks to take that MCV. Beautiful MCV dive. Great calculation there from Ed. And cutting off, obviously, your opponent's MCV at the 4-minute mark is huge. So now Ed, but the Dreadnought is out from Val here. So Ed needs to counter the Dreadnought first. Throws those drones out in front. So Ed is out tanked here with that split he used to take that MCV. Did put him behind on tanks, but obviously he's up on the MCV. So Ed needs to be very careful here, not lose obviously too many tanks, but Ed wants to get in. Every building Ed can get now is so valuable. He does get in and grab another dreadnought as well. So Ed gonna use his desos to try to slow things down, but Ed needs to be considering how can he get in and take this naval yard. You see Ed, he wants that naval yard so badly. Now targeting the dreadnought, trying to get Val out of position, but really if Ed can hit that, can hit the naval yard, that would really be the beautiful punch here. Ooh, Ed gets a lot of desos in behind enemy lines there, and that's a lot of damage on those tanks. Nice chip damage. Very, very good unit control. Well played from Ed there. So I would expect to see Ed try to work behind these desos now, try to take out the naval yard. Every single building Ed can get now gives him so much value without the MCV, without Val's ability to rebuild. Another really juicy target here, guys, is this oil, which would take this entire expansion with it. Val, a little less familiar with the Blitz format. A lot of times these newer players, they make that mistake of building their base a little too packed in. And those oils are a huge liability here. So again, you're going to see Ed jump in here to counter the dreadnought from the land. Ed out now with a Kirov. Val trying to get, ooh, does get one drone in from Val. Ed sees it though. Val does have a tank advantage still here though. So now this Kirov is going to get in and take out the naval yard. So that's going to make it so Ed doesn't have to worry about that anymore. But here comes the punch. Here comes the punch. Okay, so the naval yard goes down. So that was, oh, and with Valentino's last dreadnought, his last boat, as his naval yard goes down, his last rocket from that dreadnought takes out the nuclear reactor, takes a war factory with it, and puts Ed low power, just enough to slow him down here for a second, stop the clock on the Iron Curtain. Nice punch there from Val, but Val's got to be kind of feeling the pressure here. What is the move to make something happen? Siege choppers now topside. Yeah, and it's, you know, Ed obviously, oh my god, Ed doesn't have a war factory. That took, it must have taken 2 war factories, or I think the dreadnought took another war factory. So Ed's not building tanks right now. Wow, that puts Ed quite a bit behind on tanks, but he does have an Iron Curtain coming here. We'll see if Val, yeah, I think Val can close this out, but Val needs to be careful here. He needs to be using his siege choppers and his drones to clear out the the desolators. Ed, obviously, a key to Ed holding this position is the desolators. Val's got to find a way to clear out the desolators and then get in and make something happen. As we come on the 2-minute warning here. Val's got a lot. So Ed's going to use an Iron Curtain here with drones to try to get in and just try to slow things down a little bit. So now Val's out with a lot of his own drones. Ed's going to try to pull back behind the bunker, behind the sentry gun. Gets a few of the desolators. Yeah, Val wants this. Val wants to get in there and make something happen, but Ed, you know, Ed's a smart player. He's gonna use his drones. He's gonna use his desolators to slow things down as much as possible here. Callahan, just in time for a banger, man. Just in time to watch this game close out. Val getting heavily droned here. I don't know. I don't know if Val's gonna be able to close out this game without an MCV. You know, obviously, if Val had the ability to have some tech behind this, but Val stuck on rhinos and dogs with that early MCV hit. With no Iron Curtain here, you know, no dreadnoughts, very difficult for Val to make something happen. Ed obviously comfortable playing more defensive. So now Ed gonna push tech. He's got another Iron Curtain coming. He's got a naval yard out now. So I think we'll see a little flak boat from Ed. A lot of drones from Val. Val's just trying to clear out these, but look how many desolators there are. But Val gets in with all of those drones and takes out a lot of desolators. Damn, that's a lot of elite conscripts. Val able to clean those up. And now we see another Iron Curtain batch of drones coming in. Val's army's taking some pretty heavy hits here, and Ed hasn't even engaged with his own tanks yet. Ed gets in and cleans up these tanks thanks to those drones. Very nice defensive play from Ed here. Now Ed's looking to counterpunch. Oh my god, Ed's looking to counterpunch. We got 1 minute left in this game. Can Ed close this out? Val is pumping the drones. Ed is heavily droned here. Picking nice targets, but that force shield's going to slow down Ed enough. And with Ed, oh, and Ed needs a dreadnought. If Ed had a dreadnought behind right now, he could close this out very easily. As it stands, I'm not sure if he can. He's heavily droned. He does get the MCV, gonna lose all of his tanks. And if Ed had a dreadnought right now, he could close out this game. But this one is gonna come down to time. Val calls GG though. Let's see if Val, Oh, there's only 2 buildings left. The bunker's the last building. Val sells off, and Ed takes it home. Wow, a very... And the second game of the day, guys, another very, very close game, very back and forth. Both players had the opportunity to make that one happen, and Ed just played really, really, really well. Latchback, that's right, man. You got to get in here, man. You got to get in the blitz pit. All you guys, everyone's got to join. Everyone's got to join on the action. We're always looking for new players. Hit that Discord link if you're in the Twitch chat. If you're on YouTube, it's in the description. Always looking for more players, and always looking for new sponsors. Always looking for new people to come watch and hang out and support. It's a whole group effort. We got me hyping. We got the players playing. We got the watchers watching. The watchers? That's not the best name. Spectators. Sponsors sponsoring. It's a big community effort. That's how it goes. Oh, Ed. Okay, sorry, man. I just started this game, but we are going to try to get Ed in the booth. I'm going to try to get Ed in the booth on the next point. All right, here we go, guys. We got Cold in red. We got Val in yellow. This should be a banger, guys. This one should be a banger. Both these guys have been playing some really great blitz, and they're both just playing good Soviet, good Rhino War style here. So Val does sneak in a drone on the top side. You see Cold building up. Going to try to take that top plateau. Seen a few players trying that today. Getting pretty good value out of it. Ed, we'll try to get you, yeah, next point, Ed, we'll get you in here. We'll see if how your mic's working. All right. So, yeah, both these players now in the running here. The top 2 players in the round robin are going to be going on to the championship. So both these guys both in the running right now. So this is a pretty good point. Val gearing up, definitely more fodder, and definitely a little tank advantage here. A couple early drones definitely helped him out.
Wake your ass up, because it's time to go beast mode.
Zed saying Val's going beast mode. I think you're right. Val is going beast mode here, but Cold's going to try to sneak down the Gator pit, try to make something happen. Look at that sentry gun from Val. Man. Yeah, Val looking very nice right now. So now Val preparing a split. We'll see what he does this bottom side split. Maybe just go harass that oil derrick. Pretty good move, but he doesn't need to be careful because now he's pretty out tanked on the top side. But Val gets in behind, and that's a very exposed MCV, and that's the perfect split there. You guys, those little numbers make a big difference. That was 5 rhinos, and they took the MCV. 4 rhinos might not have got it. 3 definitely would have. 6, he would have lost too many. So now here comes the counter punch. He did lose 5 rhinos in that process, so now Val needs to bring these other rhinos home and try to hold off the counter punch. Oh, but the name of the game is be hit and hit back. Wait, that doesn't make sense. The name of the game is not be hit. Actually, I think in boxing you say the name of the game is hit and be hit back. Well, in this case, the idea is to hit and not be hit back. Obviously, you see that all the time in blitz. Once you defend a position, you're able to get downfield so quickly. The counter punches come so fast, and I think there's just that's one of those parts of blitz is that MCVs being that close, you can have units defending an MCV and then attacking the enemy's MCV in about 4 seconds, and that kind of throws players off a little bit. And you do see a lot of people get counter punched more often than they should. And in that case, Val made a great punch. Whoa! What just popped up on my? Whoa! $50. Wait, that whole that was so funny. Jonah Hill dancing like that. I have no idea where that layer came from. My thing was just literally like, yo, we just got $50. Something crazy has to happen. Slicer with the $50. Appreciate it, buddy. That hits that money going towards next month, man. Like I said, the action's gonna keep rolling next month. $300 going out in prizes. Hopefully even more players. Hopefully even a funner map. More RA to the moon. That's what it's all about. Thanks for the support, buddy. Yeah, so Valentino hasn't played much blitz before. He's played some top-level show matches, but he's never played a tournament before. He's playing pretty good here. But yeah, unfortunately, like I was saying there, you get that counter punch, and then you got to think, okay, my opponent's going to come at me right now. And you got to be ready for it. Now, a lot of times people will counterpunch as soon as their MCV gets hit. They auto counterpunch. They're just like, all right, I got to go downfield and try to make something happen. And you can actually use that to your advantage, because if your opponent's gonna counterpunch, if you're ready for it, you have a group of drones or desos, you can just catch him. He'll run right into him. So unfortunately, though, if you don't catch him, he will obviously storm right in and make you pay for it here. So Val pushing into quite a few drones here. You see Cold kind of baiting him. He's willing to go up that war factor if he can take out his army here. But Val not taking the bait, is trying to playing a little smart, trying to stay off that radiation. Deso out, getting some damage done. Now Val slowly edging his way in, and Cold does accept the base trade here. Good idea. When you're down, accept the base trade. That's Berg's words of wisdom. I said, yeah, base trades are tricky. Berg said it's simple. If you're down, accept the base trade. If you're up, don't base trade. Sometimes it is difficult to calculate, but in this position, Val definitely up. Final 2 buildings for Cold here. Val takes him out. Val puts up a win, and a very, very close game it was there. Val versus Cold. Val. Yeah, so someone's saying the bottom cliff. Yeah, so building up on the bottom cliff, it is possible on this map. I've done it before. It's just more difficult, and it's like that on all maps. Building down is always harder than building up. I mean, building down and trying to get on cliffs is just harder. But if you have to put a building like flush to the cliff, and then you can get up on the top. All right. So Val in red on the right, Osama in yellow on the left. How are you feeling about this one, Ed? Where would you be putting your money here?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. They're both good Allied players, and we saw Val just play, and he did really, really, really well as Allied. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's we've seen a lot of these guys. Allied versus Allied in this map has definitely got pretty gummed up. We've seen it. The pro AVAs. We've had a few of them come down to time. So you know, it's a map where there's definitely enough room to kind of turtle a little bit, and I don't know if you can't do anything decisive early on, once both Allied players get geared up and turtled in, can make for a long game. So we'll see if either player can get early value. Val bringing out the early Rockies, the early Eagles.
Yeah,
so.
and that's the good thing about this map, huh? That early eco really gives the Allied player like an opportunity to do this: the Eagles, Rockies, tanks, just everything right away.
Yep. Yeah, especially that extra money definitely helps with that, and I think that's why Allied versus Allied, you know, the strategy's a little wacky because I mean, what your opponent does is almost as important as what you do. Soviet versus Allied, though, you just have to get in early. I think the Soviet player on this map, though, can get in and try to take the corner oils. You know, the Allied player with their Grizzlies early on, you'd think the Soviet player could pump some early Rhinos and try to take out the early oils, but you got to do something to the Allied player early because both players trade AFCs.
Wow.
Yep. Just like a cage match where you start foot stomping and both people are like, okay, we'll just both have to play now with broken feet. Both AFCs going down.
It'd be nice if they use their tanks as well at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
Pressuring some areas.
Yeah, you got to trying to mix and match. Yeah, not really playing the splits as well as they could be here. Now we're gonna picking on that power plant with the Rockies. Oh, but as he attacks those buildings, so Osama able to get his Rockies in and take a few Rockies out. So Osama with a slight lead here, I think, but not by much.
Yeah, so Osama has what, 5 oils technically, and they're both on 5 oils, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah,
both,
with the
both
two
broke.
Both broke though, yeah. Oh, and you keep losing. If you have to keep rebuilding the AFCs, man, you run out of money quick. Is he gonna dive on this oil? Ooh, doesn't get the oil and loses a few tanks by diving there. I like Val's aggression here, but Osama is countering it nicely. What are these guys in traditional, Ed? What do you think these two guys, like if it was traditional Yuri's Revenge or Red Alert 2, is there a strong favorite between these two?
To be honest, they're pretty evenly matched from like my experience from both of them. I have not seen them both play against each other. This is going to be the first time, but from playing both of them individually myself, I feel that they have like similar styles.
Yeah. That's what I would have said. I would have thought they were kind of in that similar bracket of players. Both names you kind of recognize and put up points against good players, but not quite in that like top tier.
Yeah.
Okay, so that
now going hard on those oils. Look how many oils he has now, and they're also closed. That's so juicy, especially against Korea. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, against an Allied player racking up your oils like that. We talked about that. We've seen that from Val in a couple of his games, and he has been able to get far enough ahead that he hasn't really had to pay the price. But that kind of happens when the first Blitz tournament you play, you usually do this a few times, and then you have someone make you pay the price, and your whole base explodes, and you think, okay, I will not do that again. But most people do learn the lesson the hard way.
But Val doing a really good job keeping that AFC down from Osama. And now he has 2 AFCs now. So, and that's something that I've seen top players do is they build the second AFC before it even goes down, right? So that their jets are always there. They can always just bring them back.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's so big, AVA, keeping the AFC up. And now, so now Osama is doing that, like you said. Now we're going to have 2 AFCs out. But Val's been able to control it. But look how long those Eagles were AFK for Val. I mean, you've got to just keep making laps with your Eagles. Quite a few Patriot missiles up in the front of the base. But Val could actually get around the backside. Takes out that oil. I think he has a bit of a miscalculation. It didn't take the War Factory with it. It was close. It was close, though. Only lost a couple.
Yeah, pretty huge hit regardless, right? Injured a couple of the tanks there.
Oh, yeah.
Val is, I think, heavily out tanking now.
Yeah, Val definitely in
And
the
look at
driver's seat.
Osama's eco, man.
Yeah, and Osama's broke. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And clipping that oil there. You're right. The splash damage on the tanks. Oh,
Ooh,
yep.
huge.
And that was Val's only war factory. So, but Osama's so broke. Val has so much money that, I don't know. I mean, Osama really can't make him pay. Val's just going to be able to catch up here. I mean, on 14K, it's like a joke. His money doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was a nice counterpunch.
For Osama sacrificing his units, it's so much more painful for him.
Yep. Yeah, Val's in a financial position just to trade units all day here. But Val looks like he's going to try.
But not like this, right? He traded
Oh.
literally his entire army here, and still doesn't have a war factory.
Oh my God! Wait.
He might have just thrown the entire game here.
What exactly just happened there? Why did was he targeting buildings? Why did so few of Osama's tanks go down?
He just overcommitted in a really bad formation, I guess. I don't know, but Osama came out ahead here.
Wow. Oh my God.
It's something I don't know, man. Something to take note is that Val might have thought that Osama was like financially stable, like he was fine, you know, and he's like, oh, I need to push. I just lost my war factory. I need to do something, you know. I don't know what he thought, but he just overcommitted there and just threw away his entire army.
Yeah, you're right. And so that's one big thing to note when we talk about the money. And I've had a lot of people who don't play the game very much ask, and they're like, do the opponents know each other's money? Because I talk about that in the wrong way. I'm saying it like, oh, he's up here, da. But you don't know that when you're down there. So without Val knowing how far ahead he was on the economy, yeah, you're right. It was very tempting to think that he had to get something done there. But I'm still kind of confused on that exchange. Like, why? I think maybe what happened was like, Osama's Rockies were targeting the Grizzlies, and Val's Rockies were attacking his I'm not sure, but I mean, man, that tank exchange, I'm just confused why Val. Anyway, well played by Osama.
Yeah, well, he held. He stayed strong. I mean, I don't know what went through Val's head there, but maybe he can explain it.
Yep.
Val, if you're in the chat, man, let me know what happened there, dude. Why did you just go in like that?
Okay. So. Very interesting last point there. Yeah, it is hard to say, but it's just, you know, from up here, some of those decisions can look so easy, and then when you're in the heat of the moment, decision making obviously much more difficult. So here we go, guys. The tiebreaker here in the round robin. Both these guys 2 wins, 2 losses on the day. Winner of this going on to play Osama in the championship and take home some money. First and second are getting paid out. So the winner of this does put themselves in the money. Yeah, Osama came in replacing Ravage and went undefeated. Osama's a good player, though. He's in this division. Osama was originally invited to this division, but he just wasn't able to commit early enough, and then it filled up, so he got put on as an alternate. Then when Ravage dropped out, Osama filled in. So Ed versus Valentino here. Again, winner of this guaranteeing themselves in the money. This tournament, $40 going to first. This division's $40 going to first, $20 going to second. So the winner of this gets themselves at least $20 and a shot at the 40. So Val does get one of his tanks droned early. And so Ed is going to jump down here. I love this move. Jump down and grab the oil. If your opponent sees it coming, I think it can be countered fairly easily, but a lot of times they won't. And so, yeah, you lose the conscripts. Obviously, that's a great hit, especially Soviet versus Soviet. Everything is so even. Everyone's just at each other's throats early on. Grabbing one of your opponent's oils, giving yourself a slight financial edge is really nice. We see Ed building towards the bottom this time. A little different philosophy here. We have seen him battling for that top plateau most of his points so far today. But this time, both players going in different directions as Val takes the higher ground on the top side. So Ed out now with the conscripts as well. Val still does not have a radar or a deso out. So these conscripts are going to be able to get some nice damage done. Nice use of the conscripts from Ed. I'd like to see him use that other barracks to get the conscripts on the front line even faster, but Ed's committing heavily to this conscript pump, and I think it will give him an edge here. Let's see if Ed can continue the push. Needs to make sure to target these tanks. Wants to use his army to defend Val's army first before attacking the buildings. Oh, now he splits off the conscripts. He has enough tanks to go back and take Val's army. Very, very nice. Yeah, and nice use of the conscripts on the top side. Take out that power plant, but conscripts are so cheap. If they can get anything done, it's good value. Zed, you and Artie, you guys want to do it? Get a 2v2 going? We'll get some fun going after this tournament today. I got some energy. We got a couple new free-for-all maps. Got some stuff to do. Yeah, it is interesting. I feel like we do see that bottom right oil go down most often, but I mean, this map is perfectly mirrored pretty much, so I don't think either side of the map should have too much of an advantage. Oh, it does get an oil and able to switch back to take those tanks out. So Ed definitely in the driver's seat right now. Val's just kind of behind across the board here, putting up a good fight, but Ed's definitely has the momentum here. Should be able to take himself into the championship with this win. Okay, okay. Gonna take out another oil here. So Ed, yeah, Ed has enough tanks on the back end to kind of defend while he uses his front rhinos to continue to harass. Val still has everything he needs, but you see Val now switching over to drones. He's just behind. A few drones here could help him catch up. Ed doesn't have too much. Ed's also broke, so Ed sells off some power plants, try to get a little extra money. Ed wants to get the Dreadnought in the game right now. The Dreadnought's definitely the juicer, but nice drone counter from Val. Ed does lose a few tanks, but now Ed coming with the tech units out with the siege choppers. We should see a Dreadnought here from Ed shortly, but Ed is broke. Val using these drones so nicely. Ooh, nice! That was an incredible defensive play from Ed. Got those rhinos behind the sentry gun, only lost one. Dreadnought out now. There's no anti-air in Val's base, so let's see how quickly Ed can get some stuff done before Val reacts. Takes out another oil, takes out some power. Yeah, really, really choosing targets nicely from Ed here. The Dreadnought was a great switch from Ed. He was able to tank, pull ahead on each engagement, and then right as Val was kind of starting to counter the tanks, Ed switched over to the Dreadnought and took care of it. All right, here we go, guys. Coming at you with the championship round of the semi-pro bracket here. So basically, you know, these are the 5-6 guys right below pro. A lot of good players in here today. We had a lot of good games. So we got Ed in yellow on the right, and we got Osama in red on the left. Both these guys fighting pretty hard throughout the prelims. Osama definitely up on the day. Osama did make it undefeated through the prelims, but Ed went in as the second place. Now they're both in the championship. Best of 3. Winner of this taking home $40, but both these guys winners on the day. Second place in this division's paying out $20. So both these guys getting paid already, but best of 3 action to see who can take home that first place title here in the semi-pro division. Nice little super dog from Osama to start things off. Ed tried to get some conscripts out to get something done, but Osama countering it very nicely here with his own GIs. These guys are choosing their own factions, so Osama has chosen to go allied here, and Ed choosing to stick with Soviet as he's played throughout the tournament. Done quite a good job. Lashback, yeah, good stuff, man. Yeah, get some training in the campaign, and then come hang out. Any of you guys watching, you want to play? Remember, guys, we do have actually we now have like 9 divisions. I think I added a division 7 or something. So there's like 7-8 divisions to play. Literally, if you just downloaded the game, if your girlfriend wants to play and she doesn't even know what the buttons are, we have a division for that. Divisions for all players, cash prizes, tournaments every month, new maps, lots of fun. So come play. It'll be great. Join the Discord. All right. Ed taking advantage of that higher ground here. Now a top barracks and a desolator, and a radar. So he's going to get some desolators out. Oh, so we got some desolators on the backside going to get in that flak track. There's snipers out now from Osama. Snipers obviously the heavy counter to the Soviets desolators. We'll see if Ed can. If it's difficult, you know, Ed's got a couple desolators in that flak track. He's gearing up a deso bomb. Ooh, nice tank control from Ed, able to save those tanks. So he wants to try to get that flak track right in the heart of Osama's base and then deploy the desolators, but it's difficult. The sniper starts auto-targeting very quickly. Ooh, nice Tesla. Nice tower from Ed, taking advantage of that higher ground, forcing Osama to sell off some of his structures there. Now that deso bomb bottom side does get those desos down, and that is how you deso bomb, ladies and gentlemen. Take note on that. Out of range of the sniper, so getting a lot done. Oh, gonna push in on the mirages as well. Not a nice damage. Now look at Ed playing off the edge of that radiation. Playing off the edge of the radiation now. Going to try to take that MCV, but he has having to switch back to the tanks. Mirages are out now. Ed gets the MCV, but now just needs to be careful. He needs to get a bit more value out of this attack. Shouldn't be any problem, though. He's still got... Those rhinos are smoking, but very well managed. Does take home the win. It was, you know, that was closer than it looked. You know, Ed had 5-6 tanks left at the end there, but they were all on half health. I mean, that's one of those situations where a few minor mistakes from Ed, he could have lost his army, but Osama really wasn't in a position to counterpunch anyway. Very, very well played from Ed there. Both players, it was a nice allied look, but Ed played it perfectly. That's exactly how you counter allied. Yeah, so you know, players have talked about that. You know, if you have enough snipers, it's very difficult to deso bomb. It's still possible, but you have to have like 5. You can double deso bomb. You can put 5 desos in one flag track, 5 in another, get 10 desos. You know, you get in there, even if 5, 6 of them get shot, you only have to get a couple down to make a big difference. But in that case, Ed just worked around the sniper. The sniper was on the top side. Ed rerouted the attack to the bottom side. Nice deso bomb to kick things off there, and then came in behind it. Really nice decision making, good unit control. That base walk on the top side was kind of distracting Osama. You know, right before that attack, Osama was selling pillboxes, trying to deal with that. Yeah, very, very nice from Ed. A little secret sauce from Osama. Nibami redeeming the secret sauce for Osama. Osama needs a little secret sauce. We want a barn burner, don't we? We want that game number 3 magic in here. Ed going to bring the conscripts out again now. I think we'll see him go down to that bottom side. And now a little secret sauce for Ed. So secret sauce for both players. What happens if both players have secret sauce? I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know if we've ever seen it before. I think we're about to have our minds be completely blown. All right. So Ed's going to take this oil, and I think Osama might just go right for Ed's base here. The GI's coming, but this is a lot of rhinos. It's a lot of rhinos and a sentry gun. Ooh, nice. Nice from Osama. Very nice use of those GIs. And Ed gets his tanks a bit out of position here. But, man, the rhinos are devastating. Even pretty well orchestrated attack. Osama just didn't have many units there. That was not many Grizzlies. That was not many GIs. He just didn't quite have enough. But the Eagle comes in to finish it off there. So now see if he can resist the counter punch here is the question. That was a decent value. He did get the War Factory out of it. Again, that was a very light attack from Allied. Very nice GI control. Got a lot of value out of those. It just wasn't a very big army. So now Ed going to send some conscripts, possibly topside. Ed did get that oil on the bottom right. So Ed, yeah, pretty even so far. Both players done a little bit of damage, but obviously the question is, can Osama resist the Rhino pressure that's coming now? You see Osama switching over to a defensive paradrop on the top side. But yeah, Ed, keep an eye on those conscripts topside. They're going on a quest, going to try to take out another oil. Navy SEAL out now to counter those conscripts. And marching with these GIs, trying to put them in position to help with these rhinos. Getting a little too far from his base, though. But Osama doesn't want to give up that oil. Unfortunately, he is trying to hold that position, which is going to be quite difficult. And there is a veteran tank, but it goes down. The Navy SEAL's not in the action. That Navy SEAL needs to go to the front lines, clean up those conscripts. And again, the GI's getting a lot of damage down here. Osama getting a lot of value out of his GIs. Osama now attacking here with these Grizzlies. Does he have the edge? It's pretty even. Obviously, it's a couple more Grizzlies, but obviously Rhinos are quite a bit better. That's a cracking jokes. Cracking jokes in the chat. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Another defensive paradrop here. Osama's playing a very interesting Blitz allied. It's not really the allied we often see in Blitz. He's just using a few different tactics here that we aren't really as used to, I guess. But with that being said, I really like it. I really like the use of the paradrops. He drops the paradrops defensively, and then he tries to kind of push with them. But overall, just great GI control here. Ooh, that Desolator gets down. Oh, it's hard to appreciate, guys, but Osama's entire army on the bottom is now half health. Ed does pull up to deal with that paradrop, puts himself out of position. He's really in trouble. That Desolator got a lot of damage done. You know, Grizzlies, honestly, Grizzlies are already so fragile to start with. All of a sudden, they lose half their health, a quarter of their health. Things go from bad to worse very quickly. And you see Ed bringing out the Trident, the Soviet Trident. I called it the Soviet Trinity the other day. I'm calling it the Soviet Trident. It's the Iron Curtain, Dreadnoughts, and Kirov. That's what it's all about. Now we're going to see a Dreadnought hit the field for Ed. He did close out his semifinal game with a similar tactic. And once the Dreadnought comes, yeah, the Allied player's in trouble. Navy SEAL on the top side. Navy SEAL gets in. Oh, gets ran over. Oil goes down. All these Grizzlies are about to all die from straight splash damage. All of the Grizzlies are now smoking. There's a Deso Bomb coming from Ed. Gonna make things even worse, but he does get in and counters that Dreadnought. Osama doing a decent job staying alive, but the question is, how does he win this game? With the Iron Curtain coming and the Dreadnought coming, gonna be very, very tough. Gonna be very, very tough. Yeah, these Grizzlies are getting one-shotted. Well, look at these Grizzlies pop. Yeah, that's the same batch of Grizzlies. They got desoed, and then they got hit by an oil, splash damage from the oil. Ed now desoing his own tanks, but yeah, not gonna matter. Osama GG's out. Ed takes it home. All right, guys. Ed's our champion for the day. Let's get some free-for-all action going. So that was it, guys. So, Ed and Osama. Ed coming off of, yeah, and Ed, what a metamorphosis for Ed on the day. Coming off 2 losses in the prelims, but then getting into the finals there, beating Val beating Val in the tiebreaker, getting into the finals, and then beating 2 and out in the finals there. So well played by Ed. Ed taking home $40. Osama taking home $20. Some good games today. Kind of unfortunate turn of events with some of those players dropping out, but that's the way she goes. The way she goes. Let's give Ed a crown. There you go, Ed. You got a crown, buddy.